Right, so we're going to begin lying down. All right, so we'll start with a little hugging of the knees and then rock backwards and forwards. And then we'll turn that rocking into more of a circling. And then round the other way. And then hugging one knee, stretch out the other leg. And then swap over, and we'll do that a few times. And then next time we hug in the right knee, we'll circle the ankle. Circle the other way. And then rest the foot and let's hook left hand under right knee, right arm out on the floor and come across into our twist, drawing the thigh in close to the body. You don't have to go all the way over, just to where it feels good in your body. A few moments just being here with our breath. And then come across and swap over. So right hand under left knee, left arm out on the floor, and twist the other way. And back into the centre, both feet on the floor, hip width apart with the knees bent, arms a little bit away from the body, and then a rock of the knees and the pelvis from side to side. And the legs go over to one side, let them rest there, popping some cushioning underneath or between the knees if that's helpful. And then gently back through the centre, over to the other side. Deep breaths there. and then back into the centre. And then we're going to come up into bridge. So let's get rid of the support from underneath the head. So the head's flat on the floor, arms down by the side, feet hip width apart. We'll take a breath in and a breath out. And as we breathe in, we're going to press down into the feet, let the hips float up and float the arms over. And then breathing out, lower the back to the floor, hug the knees into the chest. And then breathing in, feet into the air, arms float over. Breathing out, feet to the floor, arms down by the side. Again, breathing in, feet press down, hips float up, arms float over. Breathing out, lower the back, hug the knees in. Breathing in, feet into the air, arms float over. Breathing out, feet to the floor, arms by the side. And again, breathing in, feet press down, hips float up, arms float over. Breathing out, lower the back, hug the knees in. Breathing in, feet into the air, arms float over. Breathing out, feet to the floor, arms by the side. We'll do one more round. Breathing in, feet press down, hips float up, arms float over. Breathing out, lower the back, hug the knees in. Breathing in, feet into the air, arms float over. Breathing out, feet to the floor, arms by the side. And then hug the knees in again and have a rock from side to side, across the whole back. And then let's roll over onto one side and stay there with support under the head again. Maybe a little bit more support when we're lying on our sides. Tuck the knees, one on top of the other, arms straight out in front. And then this top hand, we're going to slide it up the arm across the body, over to the floor on the other side. So another little twist, this time leading with the arms. Legs can move if they need to a little bit. And then we're going to bring the hand back together again. Do this with the breath, breathing in, sliding the arms out wide, and breathing out, bringing the hands back together. A couple more of these. Next time we open the arms out wide, we're going to stay there for a few breaths. Shoulders heavy, head heavy, arms dropping back. One thing to experiment with a bit is you can, if your knees have sort of separated slightly, the top knees come away from the bottom knee, you could just slightly move the pelvis in the direction of the knees coming back towards each other, but not so much that your shoulders lift off the floor. So it just adds a little bit of extra stretch into that side, sort of side lower back area. Okay, and then just relax the hips, let the knees separate again if they need to. And then sweeping the arm around in a big circle, sweeping it around the floor. So the floor takes the weight of the arm where possible, lifting it off the floor where you need to stay within your pain-free range of movement. And round the other way. And the next time the arm comes in front, Let the fingers rest on the floor just in front of your waist and give the floor a little push so that you create a rocking on the side of the body. And then just back to stillness. And have a little moment of stillness. And then we're going to straighten out the top leg at hip height, ankle flex, so toes drawing up towards the shin. And then keeping that leg straight, we're going to just go up and down. And then bringing the leg back to hip height, and then we go backwards and forwards with that straightened leg. Rest of the body staying still. And the next time the leg goes back into the space behind, lift it up again and lower it. Little lifts and lowers with the leg out behind slightly. Face relaxed, jaw soft. And then the next time we lift the leg, we're going to draw little circles. Keeping the leg straight. And then draw the circles the other way. Okay, let's bring the knees back together. Pause. And then we're going to move back to arms while we're still on this slide. Arms straight out in front. Top hand comes up to point up at the ceiling. And then we're going to do the little twist where we twist from the waist. So the arm and shoulder rib connection stays as it is, stays neutral. But from the waist, we roll the whole upper body back, keeping the knees glued together this time. And then we're going to come back up to the top. So we're finding the muscles around the center of the body, around the sides and middle of the waist, sides, middle of the torso, to control the whole rib cage, carrying the shoulder and the arm back, and then to neutral again. A couple more of these. And down, and we'll go onto the other side. I'm going to switch ends of the mat, or you can just roll over, lying the other side. Oops. Okay. The glasses off for this bit. Arms straight out in front, elbows straight, knees bent, one on top of the other. Then the top hand slides across the body over to the floor on the other side. For this one, the knees can separate. The legs are not glued together or anything like that. And then slide the hands back again. Breathing in, we open out. And then breathing out, coming hands back together. Next time the arms open out wide, we'll stay there for a few breaths. Shoulders heavy, head heavy, arms resting back into the floor. And then after a little while, you have a choice. You can keep the knees loose, sort of separated if they need to be, or you can start to roll the pelvis to take the knees, the top knee back closer to the bottom knee. leave the shoulders on the floor. If you go so far with the rolling of the pelvis that your shoulder lifts off the floor, then you've gone too far. You're just adding a little bit of muscular energy. It will bring a little bit more stretch up into the side of the body in the armpit area. And then relax the hips, let the knees separate again if they need to, and then start the sweeping round of the arm in a big circle around the body. And round the other way. And then bring the hands to the floor just in front of the waist and push against the floor to give yourself a little rock on your side. And then a moment of stillness. Okay, and then we're going to straighten the top leg, keeping it parallel with the floor, flexing the ankle, and then lift and lower. And the next time the leg lowers, we're then going to go backwards and forwards with our straightened leg. The rest of the body doesn't move. And the leg goes back into the space behind, we're going to lift and lower in that space behind us. And then the next time you lift the leg, we're going to circle. And then round the other way. And then bring the knees back together. Have a little pause. Okay, and then let's push ourselves up to sitting. Have legs out wide. I think we're going to get my two bolsters to go under, one under each knee. You can put a folded blanket or cushion into each knee. We want to be able to sit upright on our centre of our sit bones without the back feeling like it's getting pulled. Tailbone not getting, we don't want the tailbone getting pulled underneath us. Okay. So let's just have a moment to find the sit bones. Feel that grounded sense through the base of the pelvis, through the sit bones into the ground, and then the sense of growing up tall through the centre line of the body from that solid base. Fingertips can come together, and with our attention in our sit bones, let's have a little rock backwards and forwards, moving the upper body as a single unit. We're not rocking at the waist, we're not rounding and arching, we're rocking on the sit bones. And then next time we rock forwards, hands can come down. Keep a little bit of energy in the feet and awareness in the front of the pelvis, sit bones connecting into the ground, letting the upper body's weight gather down through that front of the sit bones area and seeing what happens. It might take you into a little bit of a forward bend, but don't force it, just let that emerge of its own accord, breath after breath. Use your hands to walk yourself back up, and then let's do that again, but with the legs closer together. So I'll turn sideways on this one, and support under the knees, legs together, keeping our sit bones, keeping up tall. And then again, the rocking of the upper body as a single unit. Eventually staying in the forwards tilted position and resting the upper body onto the bent legs, or if there's a gap, grab your cushioning if you have it to rest yourself forwards. And then gently bring yourself back up again. Get rid of cushions. The kit today. Hands behind us. Knees bent, feet get width apart. We're going to press into the hands and the feet to come up, making a little table shape, chin lifted or resting back. And then lift the head slowly, lower yourself back down, hug the shins in, toes can hover off the floor or gently touch on the floor. And try to relax the shoulders using our abdominal muscles, pelvic floor muscles to use a little bit of support internally. So the outer parts of the body can relax a little bit. Face, eyes soft. Okay, and then let's bring feet back down, come over onto hands and knees. Let's get rid of socks as we are going to finally come up to standing in a moment. Toes tuck under. Stretch of the feet. And then pulling back with the heels, come up into your downward dog. Arms straight, fingers spread. Knees can be a little soft, lowest part of the belly drawing back and away from the hands. From there, walk the hands back towards the feet, bending the knees, and then you can walk your hands up your bent legs to come up to standing. Change my glasses. All right, so we're up on our feet, hip width apart. Let's have a little shake. Stillness. Hands come onto hips. Let's take the hips slightly, feet but slightly wider apart, and do our little hip circles. And around the other way. So our 2 feet, bring the feet in slightly closer together. Let's, without lifting the feet, transfer the weight into one foot and then into the other. Both feet stay on the ground. The shift of the weight. Next time the weight comes into the right foot, we're going to lift the left knee, turn the knee out to the side and bring the heel onto the inner ankle. Stay with this foot position to start with, rooting down through that right standing foot, growing up tall through both sides of the waist. Hands can come together, and then either keeping the foot where it is or sliding the sole of the foot up onto the inner calf, and then choosing either hands together or arms stretching out for our tree. And we're continuing to grow up tall from the foot, from the roots of the foot all the way up through the crown of the head. And then gently coming back down onto our 2 feet. Let's find your balance again. Shift the weight once again from side to side a couple of times. And then let the weight gather in the left foot. Turn the right knee out to the side, right heel to inner ankle. Growing up tall, rooted foot up through the leg, up through the waist, up through the crown of the head. And then choosing either to keep your foot on the floor or sliding one foot up into the calf, and the arms can choose their position as well. And then gently back onto the 2 feet, feet slightly wider apart again. Let's fold back through the hips, taking the arms wide, press into the feet to come up, or one hand on top of the other coming down. More of these in time with your breath. Gently breathe. One hand onto heart, one hand onto belly. Little moment, just tuning into your heartbeat, to the rhythm of your breath. And then with the breath in, let's take the arms wide and up. Bring the hands down the centre line to finish there with a little thank you to our yoga and to each other.